Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Oregon Village Board. It is Monday, February 12th, 2018 at 5 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order and request roll call, please.
Bollig,
Here.
Brett Howard, Staton,
Here.
Grenier,
Here.
Jacobson. Here. Carpenter.
Here.
Boudreaux.
Thank you. And our first item, number 3, is public appearance, and item A under that is the new youth center. And we're going to have a presentation by the concept plans by Oregon Community Resource Network, and then the upcoming issues to discuss are future ownership of the property and building, the required certified survey map or CSM, possible cross easement, and possibly waiving village consulting fees. So I would welcome Randy Glish and Dan Bertler.
Welcome.
Start your talk.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity tonight. I do have to comment. You guys love the new projection.
That's Jeff
I
Brown.
am now. This is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much.
That's Jeff.
So project number 2, Oregon Youth Center, and our first blush you'll see tonight was we solicited OPN Architects, a local architectural firm out of Madison, Wisconsin. They basically came to us and wanted to be part of this endeavor. And all right, what do you have? So they came up with a couple renditions. We took them to the youth center, both renditions. We took them to the OCRN board as well. And what you're seeing tonight we'll call the barn. And the barn is what won most of the votes. We went to Conceptual Plan Commission a week ago, and obviously there's a couple hurdles we got to get through, which is one of the reasons why we're here tonight. But it's a gorgeous building, and I can't tell you enough how excited it is working with the village at this level so far. It's been amazing. Do you want to get into specifics on this? What else we got to say on this one, Randy?
A couple things from what the Plan Commission, basically, I think they really liked the design. Just some, how do I say, approachability from the street to the building.
Yeah, we have not, this is quick, very, very concept. We've met with police department. We want interconnectivity between the sidewalks and the public right away. One of the items I thought that was important was eliminate the apron off South Oak Street that's currently there. And we actually, if the police department needs to expand, there's another 18 parking stalls right in front of that basketball area. Those are all future parking stalls for the police department if needed. Much more land available by eliminating the entrance off South Oak Street to make it one parcel or one parking lot between the two. No HVAC units on the roof. Everything is split system. If you go to the inside, you'll see a restroom and a kitchen area. The height of the building will actually be high enough where our mechanicals will be above that area. So, yep. And everything basically will be like a ship's ladder to get up on the inside that second level. Not open for the public, just mechanical only. So no big rooftop units sitting on the roof. Obviously we'd like to get kind of conceptual from Plan Commission last week, which I think we kind of did. And if the village board is on the same page, would like to continue proceeding with going forward with the project.
Maybe I can just quickly, in terms of the fundraising, obviously we're continuing to fundraise. We actually have a fundraiser today at Benavuto's, but we're approaching, since January, we're approaching the $60,000 range of our 200,000. So I think it's pretty good for a little over a month. So we're well on our way.
We have a total of. We're almost to our point.
We're probably near the 900,000 mark at this point.
To get it done. And I have not taken the plans to the point where structurally my next step would be site design, site all the infrastructure, and start costing everything else structurally. Okay. So right now it's concept. I'm not zeroed in on exact cost at this point.
And so that 900,000 is in the bank. So I think we're very confident.
Yeah. We're confident in you too.
I've also had a lot of subcontractors that worked on the food pantry also step forward and said they would like to do in-kind participation again on this building.
Are there questions?
I have a couple, if that's okay. I don't know, maybe we talked about this before, Dan and Randy, but is there, how many square feet is the building?
About 50.
About 5,200.
Yeah.
50, what is it now?
We think it's like 12, we don't,
No,
12 to 15?
No,
Maybe?
I'd say the existing
Little
building's
higher?
about 15,000, maybe 2,000. I don't,
Okay.
I should have grabbed it.
Whatever, just wondering
Jerry.
how much bigger this is.
Our first rendition was about 4,200, 4,300 square feet.
Okay.
We went back to the youth center and kind of pushed the envelope and say, okay, what is it now? What is it 5 years from now? What is it 10 years from now? I had OPN actually push it out to 5,200 square feet.
Okay, all right. I
Oh,
see you have
Jeff's
some,
got this.
Just gonna measure it, yep.
2,400.
Okay, 24.
the old one is,
Yeah,
and this one is 50.
50.
about
52.
5,200.
Oh, okay, so it's about double. Great. Yeah, I
Thank
see
you.
the
Thank you, Jeff.
southern and western exposure has a lot of glass.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that will be easily cleaned or maintained? Because, you know, I mean, I'm just, given what the nature of the space is, it's gonna get a lot of hand and fingerprints on it. Is
I
that,
can answer that.
go ahead, Denise.
A lot of times if things happen at the youth center that aren't acceptable, the result is cleaning.
Right. I know that, I guess that's kind of what I was leading to, is it something that the
kids could do.
the
Yeah.
kids could do?
We will have to take care of our own space.
Okay,
That's right.
all right, fantastic.
And so Jerry, let me just tell you, that we purposely, I like the glass, we did that purposely so that when you're on Oak Street, you can see that the place is hopping. I mean, you want to see the activity that's going on inside, and so,
No,
I think it's got a nice look to it.
it does, and it's a great idea. It's just the only, what I'm getting at is, you know, if you take the public safety building, they built that, they put a lot of glass on it, and now they're having a heck of a time keeping it clean because it's so high.
And we may have to put shades on
Okay.
these paints.
I think one other thought is, the reason why a lot of glass was wanted was because currently the director of the youth center cannot see the kids.
No,
There's no way to see what's going on outside, who started it, what's,
Yep.
kids running out the street, things that are happening that need more supervision.
I agree.
So having the glass and being able to see over to the skate park as the kids are over there gives the staff inside the youth center more of an opportunity to keep track of kids.
Great idea. No, I like the glass. It's got a fantastic look to it. And you're right, you know, on the west side in the summertime, that's really gonna get
Yeah.
hot. So
Yeah.
you will need some coverings.
Yeah, but great question, Jerry.
Yep. I was just wondering if when you finalize this, in the other place, they had a garden space.
Yep.
And if you've thought about that, because that was something I thought would be a great learning experience.
We
for-
actually have a couple, let me go back to the site plan, Jeff. If they're on there. No. We do have location for 3 or 4 of the planting areas on the site.
Fantastic. Okay. All right.
I don't recall where they were, but that was one of their wish list items.
Okay. No, I mean, this is great. Dan and Randy, this is a fantastic project for you to undertake and for the village to be able to be a part of. So thank you.
I agree with it.
And real quick, I don't know if everyone's familiar with this or not, but our goal obviously would be to remove the existing shed. Ouch. Build the new youth center. The current one would stay in operation until this one was 100% ready. Relocate them and then do the raising and the finalization of the parking lot after the fact.
I don't think it'll take long to raise the building.
No, no.
Matter of fact, I think a couple times, I think the EMS almost did it themselves. I shouldn't have said that. That didn't.
You know, in all my
Yeah.
years, 25 years, I have to tell you, that's the first time I ever got together with any community, though, from Mike and the police department to Public Works, and everyone is working for the common good.
Yep.
And this project, I thought before we started, we were going to have hurdles across the board, and every one of them, everyone was willing to help out, which was phenomenal. So I appreciate being part of that process. Can't say enough.
It's good to hear the principals say that. Sometimes you end up not having that experience, and that's unfortunate, but it does happen. But fantastic, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would say a couple things too. Adding to what Jerry said, collaboration works well. We appreciate that, and that having the food pantry is happening with this, and it's great to see the community come together and leadership of you folks and others that are doing these things. You know, going back when I was working, there were some surveys done, and this is pretty much true across the nation, but only about 17% of youth, grades 6 through 12, said their community cared about them.
Wow.
And that showed up in Oregon too also, that saying it was pretty consistent all across the country. This is the type of thing can help turn that around. And this is probably going to be the state of the art in the state, right?
I would have to say
People don't get new buildings
it's going to be pretty
for youth
close.
centers, yeah.
When OPN Architects sat down with Diane and everyone on site, the kids, I mean, they laughed. They were in awe. And,
Yeah.
and the kids are excited. And the kids, I cannot believe how many kids were utilizing it.
Yeah.
And Fitchburg finally stepped up and gave us some money as well, $2,500 towards a grant towards it.
Great.
Given their wish list, I think we're about 99.9% there with what they wanted and exceeded their wish
Yeah.
list. Yeah.
So for people watching, can you tell how people can donate to this?
Sure, we'll take any checks written out to OCRN and send it to P.O. Box 292 in the village,
Okay.
and everything is tax deductible.
Okay, good.
And we have several fundraisers coming up,
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So I just want to say that I remember when we got the gift, I think it was just after the food pantry. I met with some of the youth center staff, and I just told them I needed to meet with them, and we met at the Firefly. I will tell you that when I told them about the gift, they all basically started crying, because they thought they were forgotten. They knew they were kind of down the list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're thrilled, and we're thrilled to be able to do this.
Yeah, it's great. Just a wonderful project and great for kids and great for the community, so. Welcome, Jeff. Anybody else have questions or comments? And the board, everybody's very appreciative of what you're doing.
Yes.
Thank you.
As our staff. And we
No,
appreciate-
we're excited to be part of it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. It's nice to work in a community where everyone's on board for this common good.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Very, very rewarding. So, we have future ownership of property and building?
So we're actually meeting tomorrow with Randy and Dan, Matt and I, and we're
Okay.
going to be talking about that.
Okay.
and I can tell real quick on that, since we're going to meet, Randy and I met with the board from the youth center. They're ready, 501c3. They're ready to have everything set up. They ended up voting, if we can come to an agreement. They already voted. We're on board. They're on board.
And
So-
what Dan's talking about is, so, one of the challenges we gave to Matt was, well, Matt, how do we do this? They build the building, and it's a public building, and we have the public bidding, and Matt just said, well,
Yeah.
they were looking for a 99-year lease, but he said, we'll just give them the property.
Okay.
And we would, if the board agrees with us, of
Yeah.
course, and then we'd it would be deed restricted, that if for some reason the youth center got built, in the future, they wanted to sell it for something, it has to revert back to us.
Okay.
And so Matt will have the village covered so that wouldn't happen. If it does happen, we'd be covered in the
Yeah,
future. I think, otherwise, we can't have them do a building outside the public bidding process.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
So we're gonna start meeting tomorrow morning about that.
Comments on the CSM, the certified survey map?
I just wanted to list things that are probably gonna have to be required as CSM, and then possible cross easement, And then I was gonna ask the board, does the board want to, think about waiving our consulting fees on this like we did for the food pantry? So I'd throw it out there.
Thoughts on that?
I think, why not?
Yeah.
It'd be a couple $1,000
Yeah.
most likely, yeah.
It is something for the board to consider. I was at Affordable Housing Summit in Fitchburg. This is tangential, it's not related directly, but the developers universally that were at that meeting said the one thing that communities can do to create these kinds of opportunities is to waive the fees. The fees are barriers to entry that
Yeah.
that are within the control of government.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on youth center and the items that are listed there?
The waiving the fees, will that create a budgetary problem at all, Mike?
No.
Okay.
Anything else, gentlemen?
We're ready to go.
Great. And we'll be looking forward to your third project.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
No pressure.
I would stress again as you leave that the cooperation and collaboration is significant. We appreciate that. Thank you.
It's showing.
Yeah, good. Okay, item 2 is youth center also, about the display board of the new youth center in Village Hall. Recommend motion is to approve allowing display board of new youth center in Village Hall for fundraising.
So move.
Thank you.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's all set.
Thank you.
Item 4, Director of Public Works Report, Perry Parkway connection, wetland bank purchase for mitigation. Recommend a motion, accept the offer to purchase .79 acres of wetland mitigation bank credits from Willow Drive Mitigation Bank and process payment in the amount of $54,500 for these credits. Funding from 2018 borrowing and voucher will be paid under agenda item number 6.
I'll make that motion for discussion.
I'll second that.
Would someone on the staff just give a brief overview of what this process is?
Yeah, sure, actually.
Yeah.
You know, with these project, this project is going through jurisdictional wetlands. In fact, the majority of the roadway this side of the creek is in wetlands. And so, you know, we have an impact of .66 acres with the footprint of the roadway. So what DNR requires when you do something like that, they either require that you maybe go create additional wetlands somewhere else, or you can go to a wetland bank and purchase credits. And that's where someone else has created a very, very large wetland area, and then they're kind of banking those, and then they go under agreement to sell these wetland credits to communities, developers, whatever, malls, that type of stuff. And so that's what this is. We've impacted .66 acres. They have a ratio of 1.2 acres impacted for purchased, so that means we have to purchase .79 acres of credits. The purchase price for that is $54,500. So, and that's actually less than what we had budgeted, which is good. You know, but we had budgeted strong on that because we never know exactly where we're purchasing the credits and where they'll allow us to purchase the credits from and how much they are. So, but this is just part of the Perry Parkway project. It was part of the budgeted project, but
Okay.
you know, it's kind of, you know, when you wonder what are we buying for it.
Right.
We're kind of buying the right to be able to put the road where we want to.
So basically, we're gonna put a road across some wetland,
Correct.
but we're purchasing wetland somewhere else that will be preserved.
We are purchasing credits in a wetland, yes. We won't own the wetland.
Well,
you know,
I mean,
but yeah,
we're
yeah.
preserving other wetlands.
Correct, correct. It's, the whole idea is that you're not negatively impacting the amount of wetlands in a region.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Questions or comments? Have you talked to Governor Walker about this? Maybe he'd set it aside like he did for Foxconn.
Actually, you know what, I've been reading that bill that's going through there. I've actually thought of that when I've
Well,
been
there
reading
is-
that bill.
yeah,
but-
That's gonna get you points.
There, I did read something the other day that talks about how wetland management could be impacted, but I'm not willing to bank on that at this point.
Right.
I think we have to keep, you know, we're opening bids on the project on Thursday, so I'm kinda wanna keep this steamroller going.
It'd have to get approved in this session, and he'd have to sign it. I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't know if it even would impact this. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it would, but
Yeah. No, I thought of the same thing when I saw that, but
So that
Not
would-
in quite the sarcastic way, but I thought.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anybody else have comments after I stepped out of line? So we have motion seconds to accept the offer to purchase .79 acres of wetland mitigation bank credits from Willow Drive Mitigation Bank and process payment, amount of $54,500 for these credits. Funding from 2018 borrowing and voucher will be paid on agenda item 6. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So item B is showing of the Yahara Watershed Improvement Networks, also known as the WINS, video regarding phosphorus reduction efforts.
Okay, just to give a little kind of a setup for this, you all should have received at least at your tables kind of a little handout on the Yahara. It's the December 2017 Yahara Winds report, or what do you call this, newsletter. And this is kind of one of those things that we spend money on every year. The Village of Oregon annual contribution to this is $75,000. That's through our wastewater fund. But, you know, when we look at our waterways and lakes in the Yahara watershed, we know that phosphorus is an ongoing problem. It's a problem that's been kind of unaddressed for many, many years. And several years ago, actually about six and a half, 7 years ago, when many communities were faced with either making very, very expensive upgrades to their wastewater treatment plants, there was a move by Madison Metropolitan Sanitary District to bring communities together, kind of to make this consortium of communities that would gather together to instead of working at cleaning the water that's going into the creek, trying to intercept the phosphorus before it ever gets in the creek in the first place, and thereby improving the health of the network. So there's 24 communities and partners with this that all donate, or not donate, they pay to this annually to help fund this. And if you'll notice on the second page of that, it's a $1.5 million budget. I'm actually part of the executive committee on this, and so we help develop the budget and get it for approval. But its basically focus is to reduce phosphorus loads to streams, rivers, and lakes throughout the Yahara watershed, and then also for extensive water quality modeling. This last year, we kind of realized that, you know, this is out there, and that maybe the the public and our boards and everything, it'd be very beneficial if we could kind of have an educational video and a video of kind of why this is so important. And so the Yahara Winds did invest in a professional company to have kind of do a video, and they're encouraging us just to show this to the boards, and hopefully this will kind of give you a better idea of what the money of the village is going to. So this is, we're going to see if this works, right? Famous.
When I think of the Yahara watershed, I think of from all the way from the Yahara River and 6 Mile Creek down through all the lakes, all the way to the Rock River. It's got to be thought of that way because it's all connected. Our businesses depend on the Yahara River. They depend on clean water.
When I think of the Yahara watershed, I think of recreation. And I think about fishing or kayaking, canoeing, getting out and enjoying the watershed.
When I think of the Yahara watershed, I think of home, and I want to leave my part of this world a little better than where I found it. The Yahara River watershed is a large watershed, 540 square miles, covering parts of 3 different counties. Yahara Winds is working with all different shapes and sizes of municipalities, from small municipalities, small towns, to villages, to large cities. Yahara Winds is advancing a new regulatory compliance strategy called Watershed Adaptive Management. And the goal of the project is to meet the phosphorus water quality goals in the Yahara watershed.
The challenge with phosphorus is that very little of it can make a really big impact. I think the number is like 1 pound of phosphorus can equal 500 pounds of algal growth in Lake Mendota, for example. The other challenge is that phosphorus loves to cling to soil particles. It doesn't like to let go. And so we have phosphorus in our stream beds, in our stream banks, and in our soils and our landscapes that has been around for decades, if not hundreds of years.
There are three really unique features about Yahara Winds. One, it's collaborative, so it's bringing together cities, villages, towns, farmers, counties, and other entities working in a collaborative manner. Two, it's holistic, so it's taking a look at water quality goals for the entire watershed rather than each individual entity looking at things independently. And three, it's premised on a compliance strategy that results in the lowest cost to all participants in the watershed.
Madison Metropolitan Sewage District works with Yahara Winds as we are a catalyst and we are a convener of bringing a broad group of people together. Yes, we have a permit where we have to reduce our phosphorus loads, but thanks to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, we have a new method of being able to reduce phosphorus without building a larger wastewater treatment plant.
It's kind of like a trading system. The Yahara Winds approach is unique because it allows urban, rural, suburban partners to work together to meet their phosphorus reduction goals. So it's really a win-win for everybody.
We received a Yahara Winds grant last year, and we did a big stream bank restoration project in 3 separate areas on the Yahara River along our hiking trail. We've got 300 people plus a day on busy weekends walking the trail so they can see the work that was done, and we can teach them about the improvement and why it's important.
The pilot project for Yahara Winds was a small creek, Dorn Creek, and Yahara Winds communities were putting money into that area and specifically studying that stream and studying all the phosphorus from the runoff that was in it over the years. And from that, Dane County was able to determine that if we can remove some of that legacy sediment, we will do more for phosphorus reduction than a lot of these other programs are doing just by getting that old sediment out of the stream.
One of the great benefits of Yahara Winds is that it has brought dollars to the table to allow monitoring that didn't exist before. So we're filling data gaps. So we have a much clearer picture of what's happening in our watershed than we would have without Yahara Winds at the plate here.
Many of the farms in the Yahara watershed are multi-generation farms. A lot of them have been in the families for at least 100 years. So there's a strong track record of trying to keep the farms productive and trying to do the right thing so that it's able to be passed on to the next generation. The Yahara Winds, in their efforts to try to reduce the phosphorus loading into the waterways, has been able to provide us with dollars that we can offer back to the farmers in the form of cost share.
Yahara Winds has helped Yahara Pride out with being able to give us the opportunity to try new technologies and a lot of different new technologies that we would not be able to do without them. With the best soil around, I think we need to keep it where it's at on the field.
To get a handle on phosphorus, we have to have everybody working together. Things that people in the cities can do relate mainly to how they handle their leaves and their yard waste. From an infrastructure standpoint, cities can promote detention basins and retention basins, and that will benefit us all the way down the chain of lakes.
One of the most innovative things that Madison Metropolitan Sewage District is doing is they are actually harvesting phosphorus out of their waste stream.
We have developed a process working with Ostara to remove that material from the waste stream and to convert it to pellets that can then be used for fertilizer.
They're exporting out of the watershed every year over 100,000 pounds of phosphorus. That's a significant export of phosphorus. The district also engages with agricultural producers, farmers in the watershed, in terms of recycling biosolids. And how those biosolids are recycled has a significant impact on how phosphorus is managed.
Well, I think success always breeds success. We've achieved 25% of our goal already, reduced the phosphorus loads by 30,000 pounds, and moving towards a 20-year goal of almost 100,000. There's a lot of areas where I think that people are starting to realize, yeah, we can do something about this.
I think we'll meet our phosphorus reduction goals. We will have buffer strips along most of the creeks in the rural areas. We will see cover crops, and so we'll prevent erosion that way. We'll have achieved something really important, and we'll have cleaner, better water quality, we'll have better fishing, better boating, better swimming, and it's going to be great too for economics. So I think it's going to be a big success for all of us.
So, kind of, I think one of the things that you hopefully took away from that is the different methods that are being managed to kind of help reduce phosphorus. Some of those are buffer strips along streams where they don't allow they're actually paying the farmers to not plow and plant right up to the stream banks, and that gives that buffer strip. Cover crops in the winter, aerial seeding of cover crops. You saw that one machine actually knifing in, it actually knifes in liquid manure so that you're not spreading liquid manure on top of a field that can run off and transport that phosphorus off. And most recently, WINS is working with, it's called manure composting, taking manure from large confined animal feeding operations and actually composting that, which greatly reduces the heat of it, so to speak. It's not as hot and as strong. And it also greatly reduces the amount of phosphorus and doesn't make it as freely transmitted if it's applied and then runoff. So there's a lot of things that they're doing, and I think this is just one of those things that when we look at the waters, the streams and the lakes, we are part of this watershed, and we are a big contributor with our wastewater treatment plant. And so I think it's good to know that there's money and funds that our funds, I think, are being used well. And the effects of this we probably won't see for many, many, many years as far as dramatic improvement, but I think the steps we're taking today are vital steps to kind of turn the direction from where we've gone for a very long time. So, any questions on Yahara WINS?
I feel if you're going to bring up the cost, it would be good to talk about the alternative for the village.
Yeah, I was going to ask on that line, what would we be doing if we weren't doing this? You talk about that, they'll bring us up to date, plus others.
And I'm kind of careful on that because on one side, it's, we could be spending, and it would be probably in the neighborhood of, over $12 million upgrades or more to our wastewater treatment plant in order to be able to meet the phosphorus reduction. The problem is once you start getting down to that tiny, tiny, tiny numbers, to go to a little bit lower, it's exponentially more expensive. So, I'd have to look up the exact numbers of where we were with our engineers before, but it was in the neighborhood of $10 to $20 million. I like to look at it as far as what is the right thing to do. And the right thing to do in my mind is, fix the problem at the source rather than try to clean up the mess, farther down the road. And that's where I think adaptive management is such a great idea, is that it's addressing it, where the major contributions are. And they've proven over the years that major contributions are literally from the ag community, but ag community is not regulated like municipalities are. And so, I don't know if that answers your question, Jeff, or?
Yeah, $12 to $20 million.
Well, yes, it's a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, and I like the idea of deal with it at the source, don't just clean it up, so.
Exactly, so, sorry about the jerkiness of obviously, when I've tested this on other times, no one's been on our bandwidth, but now we're probably all using,
true.
that, so we may need to look into that. But, and that can be found, actually, if you're at home or whatever, that can be found at the Yahara Winds website, and the video's right on there.
Yeah, it was well done, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Anything else? Okay, item C, discussion of possible action, community room, village hall tables, recommended motion. Declare 21 of the wooden tables in a community room of village hall as surplus and allow Public Works to distribute tables to Oregon Area Fire EMS District or dispose of them.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
We've replaced them with the white Lifetime, they're called Lifetime brand or whatever. They're steel reinforced HDPE kind of plastic tables. They're nice, they're lightweight, they look great. And we're wanting to get rid of the old ones. They're hard, heavy to move around. They're starting to break down. But the Oregon Area Fire EMS said they are always in need of something like that. So I think it's a good use if we can let them.
So we'll use the
Haul them
ones
away.
that can and for them and get rid of the ones that are bad, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Item D, memo to village residents regarding not using Town of Oregon Recycling Center.
Sorry, let me catch up here.
Don't use the Town of Oregon's recycling center if you live in the village.
That's the message. Or vice versa.
Don't use the Town of Oregon's recycling center if you live in the village.
Yeah.
And
This
town
was-
residents should not use our yard waste sites.
Yeah.
This was a request from some of the individuals
Keep your
out there
mitts
that
off.
that were working out there, saying they had several times where residents had gone out there, and unfortunately, the residents had not been very pleasant with them. And they just asked if we could prepare something for them, and I told them
Sure.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, good.
So this came from town officials or town employees?
Town employees,
Okay.
yeah. I sent this to them last week, and they were very appreciative of it.
Okay, yeah, good job. Any other questions? Okay, item E, village's new message board has been delivered and, excuse me, we'll begin using it for numerous village announcements.
Can someone describe what that is?
Describe what?
The new message board. What is-
Message board is just we've seen the one that the police station has. It's like a small little briefcase style, fold-out type of message board.
Okay.
This last year, we've invested in an actual dedicated trailer-mounted. It's not as huge as the big ones you see on the highway, but this will be a great size, and we'll already be using it for Oregon Wellness Coalition, for notifying people of public works projects, road closures, everything. You'll start to see it around the village.
Yeah.
It'll be a very nice asset for public information.
Good idea, thank you. Item 5, approval of minutes from our first 2018 budget meeting, October 9, 2017.
Move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 6, approval of vouchers. We have vouchers tonight in the amount of $999,904.11.
I think you're lagging, Jeff.
Now it's working.
We gotta check your connection to the Wi-Fi.
No, it won't stop.
The EV department's having some issues tonight,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
We're all learning here.
Hopefully.
I'll put something up here for you.
Okay, so again, we have the vouchers tonight, $999,904.11. Need a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Jacobson? Yes. Carpenter?
Yes.
Staton?
Yes.
Follig?
Yes.
Boudreaux?
Yes.
Grenier?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Item 7 is community input. Anyone who would like to address the board tonight? Seeing none, we'll go to item 8, proclamations and announcements. Item A part of that is board comments. I would like to take a minute and welcome Mary Davidson to our meeting. She's taking care of our library at this point in time. We appreciate that very much and appreciate your experience in doing that, Mary. So thank you and welcome. Any others?
If Judy doesn't want to mention it, isn't the wine and cheese function this coming weekend?
It is. It's Saturday.
You want to come up and talk about it a little bit?
This weekend, we're having the Oregon Rotary Wine and Cheese, and it's at Gorman's from 6 to 8, and the tickets are $25, and I think there's still some available, so come and enjoy. All the money goes right back into the community, so please join us.
How much are the tickets?
$25. I have them in my purse chair.
He'll be right over, Judy.
I'll be right over.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll owe you the money.
Cash.
Any other board comments? Okay, staff comments. Item 1.
Just a reminder about the workshop we're having April 5th. That's Randy and Amanda, I think, is helping to coordinate that. Yep.
Is that the same night as a planning commission meeting?
Yes, but they're going to be in the community room.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got it.
We'll have that on the sign too.
Yep. The village is still looking for one more member now on HPCs. I think the board's going to accept the one for the permanent member from Danielle. And then just reminder of the election date, so which means we're not having a board meeting next Monday night, so you have off. And then upcoming meetings. I don't think we're probably going to have a Public Works meeting on the 26th, because we're only going to only have 2 members, so it's probably just going to do personnel on the 26th. So. That's all I have.
And then March 5th is that annual police awards?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yep. And then I do have a break on the calendar, or on the agenda, Steve, so they can.
Okay,
But
good.
I will say that Mike Slavny's gonna be here, and so is 15 minutes enough? Because Mike's gonna
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
do,
that's fine.
because Mike has to go to another meeting at night, so, okay.
Yeah, I think that's very adequate.
All right. Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Item 9, communication, miscellaneous business. Item A, discussion possible action regarding appointment of permanent member to Historic Preservation Commission. The recommended motion is to appoint Daniel Belzak to the Historic Preservation Commission for a term ending in 2019.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item B, discussion possible action, authorize the hiring of senior center case manager. Recommended motion is to approve the hiring of new case manager Noriko Stevenson at 32 hours per week, hourly rate of $19.50 with a start date of March 1st, 2018.
So moved.
Second that.
Thank you.
I've got a question about that. At what point does full-time start in terms of hours per week? Because I noticed this is posted as, or it was noticed to me in the packet as a part-time position.
40 hours is full-time.
Any comments you need to make here, Rachel?
We're just looking forward to getting back up to full staff. We're excited to have an excellent candidate who's gotten through all the hoops that she needs to get to have reached this point.
I'm sure that will be great.
Yeah.
Place to have, so.
It'd be wonderful to be back at full staff.
Good. So we have the motion and second to approve the hiring of the new case manager. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Congratulations.
Item C, discussion possible action, police building roof repair. Recommended motion to approve the quote from Husted Companies Incorporated in amount of $80,094 to replace the police building roof, funding from 2018 borrowing.
So moved.
Second for discussion. I have a question about the bids. Nowhere on there did I see an indication that the company is responsible for disposing of the old material. Is that just understood, or does that need to be put in writing somewhere?
That would be a good question, but yeah, I mean,
we can talk to Rudy about it, but
yeah,
I would just, in
Sure,
these
that's a good
type
point.
of situations, especially if we have not worked with them before.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Jerry. Remove and it's shingles or remove, we will, yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it says remove, but nowhere does it say dispose.
Dispose of, yeah, okay.
Hate to have the company that's selected get all done and have a couple piles of shingles laying around.
Dumpsters, yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
No.
Well,
Yeah, dumpsters full,
Yeah.
even if they did that, but,
the one from ABC does say tear off and haul away, but we'll just confirm that with Husted.
Yeah.
is that Home Specialist, ABC?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll check on that, Jerry.
Sure. And I see the Husted company they've got two rows of water shield at the eaves, which is
Yep.
Superior, and then a double layer of felt.
Yep.
I've never seen that done before, but that's gotta be better. And
Two is
then new
better
drip
than one.
edge, and the other one didn't even have that indicated on there, so. Looks like a superior bid.
Other questions or comments on this item? So we have the motion second to approve the quote from Husted Companies in the amount of $80,094 to replace the police building roof, funding from 2018 borrowing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, review of 2018 master calendar for the first quarter.
And that's what's in front of the board. I did list out the public works staffing, mainly the projects, as I know board members get questions about what Chuck's doing.
Just sitting around.
Yeah, no, I mean that way, I don't mean that way, I mean, why are we ripping up that street, what are we doing, and, sorry, I didn't mean to say.
That was Jeff, by the way, that said
That came out the wrong way, sorry about that. No, I mean, I know you get questions about us.
Yeah, we have questions about Jeff too, so that's good.
Anyways, you can refer to this, and you can, and you tell people what Jeff's doing.
Yeah, good.
And then they can tell Jeff.
Okay, item 10, report of committees. Planning Commission, February 1, 2018. Trustee Carpenter, please.
Item 1 is discussion and possible action regarding Resolution 1803, so I'll make this motion that we adopt Resolution number 18-03, approving a certified survey map relating to South Perry Parkway.
Second.
So Jeff can explain this. He did a really nice job at the Planning Commission that basically the village owns the land that we
Right.
are, that we're doing the certified survey map. But since we ask every other developer to go through this process, the village went through this process ourselves.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
It just creates the right-of-way through that property.
Okay.
Yeah, so it separates the street, public's right-of-way street portion.
From the rest of the wetland.
Just as a added thought here, it probably should have been discussed earlier, but what's the target date for completion of that connection, Southbury Parkway?
Hopefully before school starts. We want it open before school starts this next, summer.
Okay, so in 2018?
Yeah, I think our actual planned completion date is like August 1st, but
Okay,
we know how that works sometimes, depending, weather dependent.
thank you.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? So we have motion second to approve and adopt resolution number 18-03, approving a certified survey map relating to South Prairie Parkway. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 2, Jeannie.
Thank you.
And then number 2 is a status of fiduciary real estate developments request for proposed additional townhomes along County Highway CC, which is Jefferson Street. It was the consensus of the commission members not to proceed with the amendment to the comprehensive plan for this project. So at the board level, we had talked about how we thought it might be a good idea for the townhomes to continue to be built up to Jefferson. And the planning commission, I give them a lot of respect, wanted to wait another year to see if that land could be sold for commercial property. So,
How did you,
and we can't proceed without the planning commission's blessing because they control access to the comprehensive plan.
Yeah,
Yes,
and that's a very good plan commission, so.
yeah.
so that's
And
what
they
it is right
discussed
now.
it thoroughly again. I give them credit for
Yeah.
that. They discussed it thoroughly again, and the consensus was let's give it another year to see if any more commercial developments are interested in that property.
And I did communicate that to fiduciary. The ironic thing is, the few comments we heard from Bergamot residents, they're more worried about the senior housing lot, because, you know, that borders up to their property.
Yeah.
The 2 lots along CC, they're like, build whatever you want there. I mean, again, these are only a few people, but, and yet the plan commission, it has the opposite. They're more worried about those 2 lots going to townhomes, so. I think at this point, I don't know, we'll see if fiduciary does anything. Because even if they want to do the senior housing lot and just turn it into duplexes, they still have to do a rezoning of it. If they want to try to put townhomes on that one, they have to go through a whole comp plan amendment just for that lot. I'm not sure they'll do that, so
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what comes forward.
Are they open to mixed use? Retail ground floor, residential above? Has that been floated?
We have given them some possible opportunities on those lots. And as I explained to Plan Commission meeting, those lots have been available. Maybe they're not being heavily marketed, but they've been available since Dan Fleming platted the subdivision back in '03. But whether or not someone approached them and said, retail and commercial, residential above, they want to continue that neighborhood, Jeff, with those townhomes. So I'm not sure they've looked at doing something of a mixed-use property at this point. But we'll see what happens in a year. Come back.
Anything else? Okay, item 11, minutes not requiring action, library board minutes from January 10th and January 15th, and additional monthly information. And also item 11B, the memorandum of understanding committee for building new library meeting minutes, October 24, 2017, and November 29, 2017. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 1 o'clock, right here.
So I know a couple of times you've referred to having meetings with Mike Slavny to talk about the central campus plan and the progression for the central campus plan.
Yep.
When do you plan on bringing that back, and specifically, how the library and the administrative offices would come
March.
together in that?
March 5th.
March 5th?
Mike's coming back, yeah.
Yeah, that's at the top of the agenda on 8/4,
Yeah, Mike's coming
the
back.
March 5th meeting. That's mentioned.
That's what I was saying, that, that's the night we have the police awards, but we're gonna have, Mike's gonna be here, but he has to go to another meeting. I think we can get it all fitted in before he
Yeah.
takes off. And if he has to come
We'll make
back,
sure we do.
he'll come back if he has to.
Okay, item 12, unfinished business, there is none. Item 13, new business. Item A, approval of pending new operating licenses approved by the police department. And those are at headquarters, Seth Steinhauer, and at Stop and Go, Gloria Galarza. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. None under item B for renewal licenses. There's some future agenda items listed, and item 15 is a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Sweet.